Mega Dragonite has been the topic of much debate now that its Mega Evolution has finally been revealed, and I never thought that we would need to come to Dragonite's honor to defend it, but apparently that's what I'm doing, because I actually don't mind its Mega Evolution, and it has precedent. So basically, Dragonite has all of these traits of Dragonair, like the head wings and the tail jewel, and in real life, the retention of juvenile traits in an adult form is called Neoteny. Now we have to stretch this a bit since this only occurs in the Pokemon's Mega Evolutions and not just their generic adult form, and also adults in Pokemon is also weird, but whatever, stay with me. So the most famous neotenic organism has got to be the axolotl, which is a fully aquatic Mexican salamander. So juvenile salamanders typically are fully aquatic and they have the external gills. You can see this stuff on the axolotl. And related salamanders in the family Ambystomatidae are fully terrestrial adults and lack all of the gill structure. And they only return to the water for reproduction. Therefore, the traits that axolotls have as adults are actually the juvenile traits of regular ambystomatid salamanders. Now, interestingly enough, you can also force an axolotl to metamorphose by subjecting it to thyroid hormones, but this results in some reduced regeneration abilities and some malformations. Neotenic Mega Evolution started in Ampharos and maybe Tyranitar and are also kind of supported by Mega Aerodactyl. Mega Ampharos' Pokedex entry states that Mega Evolution stimulates its genes and the wool it had lost grows in again. If you look at Ampharos' pre-evolutions, you can see that they're much more woolly, and now that it's moved into Ampharos, which we're going to consider our adult, those genes have been shut off or silenced. So obviously Ampharos still has those genes, but yeah, they're just kind of turned off through gene expression, just like, you know, how when I was a baby, or compare that to maybe Mareep. When I was a baby, I could digest milk, but now that I'm an adult, I have to pound a bunch of lactase in order to eat my Vanillish, because the gene expression for the lactase gene has changed throughout my life, just like the gene expression of wool has changed throughout Mareep's life. And this same theming is repeated in Mega Aerodactyl's Pokedex entry, and that it states that Mega Evolution awakened some dormant genes. These are basically two things, like, kind of saying the same thing. Like, the dormant genes gets weird because of the fossil resurrection process, but whatever. And this is precisely the same thing that is happening in Mega Dragonite. The genes that were silenced or turned off through gene expression for the head wings and the tail gem are being turned back on through the power of Mega Evolution, which is resulting in the neotenic state of Mega Dragonite, since it has these typically juvenile traits. So kind of like how we can force axolotls to metamorphose through hormones, we can force Pokemon to Mega Evolve through Mega Stones, so maybe these are, or maybe they're not, just, you know, ways to subject Pokemon to extra thyroid hormones that cause these changes. But this is kind of backwards to what normally happens. Normally we have something that is in a juvenile trait, we expose it to stuff, it metamorphoses into an adult. But with Pokemon, we're taking an adult, the Mega Evolution, and we're forcing it to turn on those juvenile traits. So as far as I can tell, I don't think that reverse metamorphosis has occurred in any vertebrates, but it can occur in some corals. So like a coral will metamorphose into the next stage in its life, but if it's stressed, it will actually like pop back up off of the polyp that it formed to revert back into its juvenile state. And the stress part fits so perfectly because so many Pokemon Mega Evolutions are just like, hey, this Pokemon is stressed out, this Pokemon like rips open with rage or whatever, and so like these Pokemon are stressed, which is, I think, why they're like grasping at straws to like maybe get these genes to turn back on to get them out of whatever situation they're in, which is Mega Evolution. Yeah, that was basically my whole rant about Neotenic Mega Evolutions because I wanted to, for some reason, try and defend Dragonite for like the first time in my life, but I think that's cool, like showing other Pokemon that have these juvenile traits that works into Dragonite's Mega Evolution, and it was just such an easy slam dunk way to bring up Neoteny and talk about it in this quick little video. I've also been really quiet on here lately because I've recently made a huge move and still kind of getting my setup changed and updated, but hopefully like we got this mic now, we got this camera going, so hopefully we see some more up in production in future videos. And so if you made it through the end of this video, let me know your true thoughts on Mega Dragonite, because I'm sure that you haven't shared them anywhere else.